smiles all around for these guys. But don't let it fool ya. This group is nothing but serious when it comes to the planet and everything on it. They're bold environmental leaders, each in their own way.
I believe that all people should have the right to good, healthy, nutritious food.
I was a college student and I got really kind of frustrated with sort of my university's environmental footprint and its environmental performance.
I just became involved with this organization that was in my community called Kids Against Pollution.
I started a nonprofit organization called Kids vs. Global Warming about 3 years ago.
Alex, Shadia, Rachel, and Hyde are all eco-activists recognized with a David Brower Youth Award. It's an honor named after the founder of the Earth Island Institute, a nonprofit group that supports people coming up with solutions to protect the planet.
Honoring young people is so important because they are change makers, they are the visionaries, they are the sort of right on the cusp of really coming up with some incredible ideas.
Anisha Desai heads up the Institute's New Leaders Initiative. It hands out 6 BYAs every year.
And we want to sustain their activism through adulthood, and so we catch them when they're really young and bright-eyed and thinking about change.
So let's go meet these guys. First up, Hai Vo, sustainable food activist and farmer.
I'm a foodie. I look at sustainable food systems and I like organizing young people to think about, advocate for, and be educated about food.
It's a passion that's very personal to this 20-something who grew up eating what he calls junk.
Did you always eat healthy?
No, not at all. 4 years ago, I was 120 pounds heavier. I was 250 pounds when I was 18 years old. And I grew up with junk food, processed food, sugar. And when I moved to college, I saw something different. I wanted to change.
In college, he changed his diet and co-organized the Real Food Challenge project at the University of California, Irvine. It's part of a national campaign to get more ecologically sound, humane, and fair food onto college campuses.
I did 3 things. I found out how much sustainable food was at my college. I helped educate students and the local community members about what I was finding, and I advocated for policy. So we were able to get the university to purchase sustainable food.
He even got the entire UC system on board too. The goal is to get 20% of the system's budget allocated to sustainable food sources by 2020. No easy feat considering what's out there.
98% of our agriculture is monocultural, it's industrial, there's use of pesticides and herbicides, and we don't want that going into our body.
It's challenges like these that Vo and his RFC peers are taking to schools and communities everywhere.
We see the future and we see the type of food system that we want, and the type of food system that we want is a food system that is ecologically sound, that is organic, that's local, community-based, humane to animals, and fair to people.
Now meet Rachel Barge, eco-fundraiser and educator. This UC Berkeley College grad saw a problem on her campus and decided to do something about it.
I found out that we created over 1 billion pounds of trash a year, that we had a bigger carbon footprint than the entire nation of Cambodia, which is a country of 13 million people. I was like, how can my little campus of 40,000 students have a bigger carbon footprint than Cambodia? That is crazy. Clearly as students, we need to do something.
That's when she got to work and came up with Tgif.
We're talking about the Green Initiative Fund, and it was a model to help raise money on college campuses to fund really important environmental projects.
In 2007, Barge convinced students to pass a green fee. It's $5 each semester, all of it going to fund environmental projects on campus.
The students are the ones that are creating the opportunity for all those projects to happen.
Thanks to Tgif, the campus installed a campus energy monitoring system, native plant nursery, and other upgrades. That's what we call youth power. Now say hello to Shadia Fain Wood, taking aim against toxics with political activism.
I was around 7 years old when I went to a kids conference, and it was on toxics. My area in upstate New York was inundated with toxic waste, and so it was a big issue.
This eco-activist waged a long battle to clean up New York Superfund sites.
The Superfund is the toxic waste cleanup money, essentially. So in New York State, The Superfund program had gone bankrupt. And so what that meant was all of the 800 toxic waste sites in New York State were just sitting there, polluting the ground and people's groundwater and giving people cancer.
8 years of lobbying later, victory was theirs. In 2003, the state of New York agreed to refinance its Superfund and get back to the business of cleaning up the state's worst contaminated sites.
It's, a simple issue when it's kids that are pushing for their health and the health of their community.
Next up, meet Alec Lures, high school student and climate project presenter. And we'll say this, he's one busy guy.
I've spent the last 3 years traveling around the country giving presentations about climate change to schools and different environmental events and really representing the youth when it comes to climate change.
Lures was just 15 when he signed up to be trained by the Climate Project and Vice President Al Gore. But that's not even the start of it. As an 8th grader, he founded Kids vs. Global Warming to draw attention to climate change and things like sea level rise.
Anything we can do to lower our carbon footprint will really make a huge difference, and living our lives in a way that we consider how all of our actions impact future generations and nature and everyone to come.
It's a message he plans to continue taking on the road. So just how important is it for young people to get involved?
It is so important, because the thing you'll learn as you keep getting older is the grown-ups don't always know what's going on, and actually we can be the ones that are staying ahead of the curve and learning about all these problems and learning about all the best solutions to face them.
These Brower Youth Award honorees are proof that young people can create positive change, and they're hoping their efforts inspire us all to do the same.
I believe that we were born to solve this crisis, and this is what we as a generation are being called to do.